Alright, the Great Ace Attorney's Chronicles. Let's go ahead and begin. It's been a while since I played, but hopefully we can remember everything that happened in the last episode. One second. There, that way our screen's a little cleaner. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes. Great Band is simply extraordinary. So long as I played this. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue the proceedings then, your cross-examination, counsel. Humph. I forgot the voice I gave him. Pray, don't expect this Napones straight to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination right. Alright. My first cross-examination of British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Been some time since I played this. Alright, cross-examination time. What the witnesses saw.
It was the last bust of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact.
And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Hold up, there's some thing up there.
Yes, that's right, sir. Not at all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though. No.
Oh? Oh. Gonna act differently depending on what they say. Like, he's fixing his hat. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example.
You're quite right, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none.
It's pointing time, White Summer. Okay, that guy's always fixing his hat. It seems like it was a lot faster last time, though. That guy's just staring. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then?
I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening, that last bus of the day.
Don't put the heat on for this poor guy.
But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making it 20 pence on the run, you see?
He seems chill. He's so bundled up. He's bundled up and in a building, but he's freezing. He's chill. He likes to chillax. Alright. Hold up, I want to check something up that last line. No, not you. Guess I can't look at him.
Hold it!
Alright, we already went through this, but... Did that same speed? Okay, it is the same speed, so nothing different. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. Oh, his face popped up. Neither of them are doing anything too different, though. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of a rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget, when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. You're gonna need a defense attorney? The ace defense attorney? There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed I did, I couldn't help it. Oh, went too far. There we go.
Hold it!
What's a Sephiroth? Who? Where do you see Sephiroth? You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Are you talking about the prosecutor? Didn't I already testify to that? Oh, a fair, income, hard-working city banker is not considered trustworthy these days. No. I didn't mean that. Oh, he's a vampire. At least that's what they say he is. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord. Junior number 3? What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something, or other than that, they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Oh. Okay. There's no point in wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. What? As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set an example of my fellow jurors. Yeah, it does look like I heard someone. What is happening here? It sounds like it. Let me see. Yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. My eyes are on that old lady. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Ugh. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Yeah, they don't have to wait for deliberation. Counsel, for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed I did, I couldn't help it.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? That's bad. Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. No change. Doesn't seem to be changing. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. That didn't help me at all. Cleaning the desk. The jury looked like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone more dubious than Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. It's not a real knife. It doesn't look like it. Maybe because it's got the sheath on it? That is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please no. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly? Take your pick. He's in trouble. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Or it could be a W. Yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
Oh, that's his voice?
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned.
I gotta change his voice now.
No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused.
I heard him say objection now.
Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel.
Okay, so the murder weapon, a largish knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornament suggest it must be quite valuable. It stands for my mom. Could be a lot of things, like my mom. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption.
Juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. Sacrosanct. I don't know. However... Uh-oh. No! Don't do it! Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish! No. We're in trouble here. I think there's only 2 left, the typewriter lady and the old lady. The old lady's gonna save us, because my eyes are on her. I'm keeping my eyes on her. She's the real murderer. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all the traces of filth and grime. We're not lost yet. Oh no.
I have painstakingly typed every word utterly here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now positioned to draw only the logical conclusion.
We're dying. Poor judge looks so sad. He's like, it's not my doing. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. Okay, we got 2 left now. We've had it. Every time I press the witness for more information, I just make the situation worse. Maybe they can redact? Maybe they can take their fire back. Just grab their fire from the the fire thing and just take it. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witness. Or the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. There's just a firebender, he's just gonna whoosh. That'd be funny. My rabbit's going nuts. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again.
As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too.
Hold it!
Yeah. He's taking his food bowl and throwing it around his cage. The last airbender to save him. To stop all the fire completely. What exactly did you see?
Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger just collapsed on the floor he was.
Are we back to the beginning? Nope.
And by the passenger, obviously you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason the brickmaker.
Rambunctious, yeah. And then the old passenger that had the knife in his hand like this.
By the other passenger, obviously referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGild.
Then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passengers in the belly. What? Uh-oh.
Lord, I wish to speak.
Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you too?
As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself.
Wait, then you lied to yourself. He was driving. Yeah, seems a little suspicious.
But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say.
No. Please, just keep an open mind a little long.
Get up now, Silverblaze. The finish is in sight.
Oh man, this is not looking good.
Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says.
Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir.
Ugh, this is too unkind, sir.
Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man.
Old Lady McGee.
Oh!
The old lady's gonna be the hero.
Madam Juror number 6.
Hello. Yes, dear? What can I do for you?
You have heard the testimonies of the witness in the stand.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know.
I'm pretty sure it's scripted to go like this.
Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning?
Oh, just waiting. Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated to the city, you know. To put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city.
That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to McGildon Public Library later and borrow some more books?
How many Londoners live with their heads in their clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of man Magnus McGilded really is?
What kind of man he is?
The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims so values so highly.
Maybe. Van Zeeks is kind of pointing things out. Let's see what he says.
Where did all that wealth come from? Your client is Shylock, sir. The one with the very darkest of souls.
What?
And the crows.
We're gonna stone the poor crows. Didn't do anything.
McGilded lends money at extraordinary rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him.
Ah, so he's a loner. A loan shark, more like it.
When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak.
I've never heard of mention of that before.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of public omnibus service?
He's putting the pressure on her. You're not saying that...
The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused Magnus McGilded.
But he's bringing light to why he would be there in the first place. He's getting rid of any, like... Basically, he's pointing it more at making the pressure harder.
But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date.
for his debts. Ah, see, it's coming around, so this is going to make it more difficult. So he didn't have to take the omnibus, but he happened to take it with that guy who happened to owe a final payment. But that's just all circumstantial as well. There needs to be some type of proof.
Good gracious. The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life.
But then again, you can also spin it around. Why would you want to take the life of someone that honestly had nothing to give? In the end, McGilded would get nothing. Where if he kept him alive, he could just charge him more interest in the future if the guy had something. So it doesn't make sense to me. Something's missing there.
By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded.
I don't believe it.
Hold it!
Yeah, that'd have to be it. He had to not be interested in the interest, but that's a little bit to add. Yeah, that's what I would think. You wouldn't kill him if you want more money. Or at least get what you paid them back, even without the interest. If I may add something briefly, Miss Sasato? You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? Now here comes the evidence. Oh. Sir, we're in court right now. I don't think you need to be drinking wine, but this makes me want a cup of wine now.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law.
Hold up, I want to check something out. We have not looked at the knife. The part of the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhito? Huh? Oh, sorry, yes, I don't really like blades. Oh. These don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade. That's Kazuya's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Oh, it's got blood on it. It's apple juice from an apple. Maybe it's wine, maybe it's blood. Apple juice from an apple. Can't we just have one of my favorites, cranberry juice? I like cranberry juice. Delicious. Ugh. It looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood. The victim's. Ugh. An English gentleman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Do you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Is there anything else on this knife? Ah, see, the M could be a W. An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded too. It must be very valuable, I should think. What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? It was you. Yeah, it was the White Summer. You got a nice looking knife. Yes, this is one of those, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all, but what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, that idea was quickly quashed. I don't think it's an M. I think it's a W. Who are our people? Magnus McGilded. Brug von Zeek. Price fired Mason, that's who died. A victim. A skilled but poor brickmaker who apparently owed the defendant a considerable sum of money. What's to say? Prosecutor known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Supposedly the souls of those he prosecutes are eternally damned one way or another. I plead guilty, I'm sorry. You did it. There's Beppo, Bruce Fairplay, Lady First. Oh, Ladies First. My guess is we haven't seen the actual criminal yet. Okay. We just read that?
Aha, there it is. Lord Van Zeek's hollowed chalice.
He pours a cup of wine. Isn't Beppo the polar bear from One Piece? I think so. It's a really good observation there.
How can this be considered acceptable? but I find myself unexpectedly good humor. I had heard the ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect any to experience it myself.
As judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job.
What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
Oh. Why do I always get, like, evidence last? We got gloves, this picture of him. Okay, there's the knife stabbed into him. Always gotta give me a moment. I don't think he has any facial hair.
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence.
I catalog people who have borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest. It includes the victim, who owed 20 guineas. Be taken seriously?
Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum.
And oh, that was his wrong voice.
And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense.
I'm just an old lady. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes.
Uh-oh.
Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused.
Yeah, it's England. But I believe this is older England, so they used guineas back then. I'm pretty sure.
It's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel.
No, lady, please!
Still, maybe it's all for the best.
Wait a minute, let's think about this a little bit more.
I don't stand for nonsense.
Don't do law! Old lady, why? Comes Schmeckles? I don't know. Oh, we died. That was it. The last juror's decision. She looks so sweet, too. She did. Oh, what's going on? According to this encyclopedia, British law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense...
All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the law of this country, I will now conclude the trial. By delivering my final verdict, I trust there are no objections.
Hold up, what's to finish that footnote? Finish that footnote! Mr. Sutter, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. I've got to. You're late to court. How you doing, hey Lady K? Well, you could always watch it back later on Twitch or on my YouTube, but so far, all the jury members have decided that he's guilty. Right off the bat, pretty much. Yeah. When all members of the jury have concluded the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Your absence? Yeah. That's funny. A summation examination?
Objection!
Uh-oh.
A summation examination. From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that the book's at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention.
Failed to appear in court.
It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. You're out of luck.
Oh. What even is it, Ms. Sasato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment and I'll read about it.
You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails?
Typical Nipponese. Oh, now it's gonna be insulting. I like the cute fox. Alright, Miss Naruhito, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decision. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions? They gotta grab the fire! Grab the fire! Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But the procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why.
Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, to let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try it in this day and age.
Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked.
What are you suggesting?
My voice is kind of getting scratchy, so now he's kind of getting the snake kind of voice. I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhito? Breathe. A summation examination, our last possible option. You assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat. Ah, forget it. I'm playing. If you say forget it, it might actually give us game over, so I'm just gonna assert our right. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But it's our right. It's our right. I believe it would prove the vital in this case. But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it would prove the vital in this trial. That case. The defense's position is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. Here we go.
This is madness.
Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready?
Well, I'm not,
There was no mention of this letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision.
On what grounds?
You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty.
Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot.
This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all the justifying lark. Says nothing. It seems I've thrown the jurors off. Ah, what if the jurors are paid off? It seems none of them have experienced this before. No spot? You have to explain your reasoning? Yeah. Alright then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around.
So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime.
Yeah. They didn't really have a reason, they just did it. Juror's contention.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to be him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems, for 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Yeah. We didn't look at the ledger yet. This portfolio contains all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. I'm wondering if maybe some of the jurors are in this ledger. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Yeah, if they owe money. Actually, I wonder. I assure you will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside. Might. Well, let's see what we find. But all the jurors owe money. Except for the old lady, of course. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? Wait, but this is his ledger. Mr. McGilded's ledger. Unless someone owed it and wanted to get it. My guess is the criminal was putting blame on McGilded to get him in prison so he didn't have to pay off his, what do they owe? Old lady's the Ling Reader? Probably.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you kids. That damn vampire.
After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness. What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Does that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Ah. I guess so. Sorry, the rabbit's going nuts. That's what I was thinking, if they're all in it together, trying to get them arrested just to get out of their debt. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? The banker owes money. Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. One defense lists the debtors, and Bruce Fairplay would have been due to repay him loan imminently. There's nothing on the back of the book. Okay, I think we're good.
He stuck the chap next to him, just like this. Brazen, I must say, absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
A scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor? It beggars belief.
Hey, he didn't stab him on the floor. That already, right there, is wrong. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhado. Yeah. Well, yeah, 2 inside and 2... Wait. Yeah, 2 inside and 2 on top. So 16. So that means there was a 5th passenger. The criminal. No, it's good math. That means there was a 5th passenger. Yeah, actually, I didn't realize that till just now. Or till you mentioned it. According to my books, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was gonna have to thaw their icy minds with some... Yeah, she got that quick. The math, with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then... He could calculus. Nah, that was spot on. They've reached a conclusion by their own reasoning. Said he was dead-ass. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it would recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. So what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhito. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Calculus. Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the juror's own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a unified front, but the truth is, they're complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way we to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see, so it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination.
Oh, yes, I suppose you're right.
They did this, I believe, in Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Find contradictions in their statement and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. 6x examination? Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Drink some water. The defense. This is the first time I actually you see the defense attorney on the floor.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to be him.
Oh, go back.
Hold it!
Certainly, testimonies we've heard suggest the victim and Mr. McGilder were alone inside the carriage.
Precisely my point.
But could there be some other explanation? Something we haven't considered yet?
Such as...
Goes bug-out in mode, just looking around. Well, perhaps that's something we could all work out together now.
Now listen here. Maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. But we're here to form our opinions as individuals, and I have.
Oh dear, he doesn't appear to be in the mood to consider an alternative point of view, does he? No, I'm gonna have to pit the jurors against one another, like Sasato-san said. Finding contradiction in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm gonna succeed. It's fine, it's just gathering more information. I trust the driver, he has excellent memory it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Ah, there we go, those 2. Oh, there's an X for pit. But does his ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is? I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts. I see. A single penny can mean the difference between life and death after all, can't it? That's a saying in your country? My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir. That bench really need any more polishing? If the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGilder in the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left to do today is disposing of the rubbish. Oh, wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. Yep, there it is. Now, would be a very good time to listen carefully to the juror's statements again, Mr. Naruhito. If you notice an inconsistency in what two different jurors are saying, expose it by pitting them against each other. Yes, let's see if I can do just that. Money, 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 money. I don't want to. Okay, stop doing the stabbing motion. I'm gonna pit. Hit.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. There's the point. I still need to make my emote for points.
They do? Explain yourself, counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear, on Silver Blazon's maiden name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about.
That's what I'm waiting for. According to the group testimony we heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. I really like that they have them pacing. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That it is. A fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man, why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence in fact, or precisely one person's fare. One person's fare? Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about. You can get your snacks. Good gracious. We only got 12 minutes. We'll only do hour-long versions of these.
This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claim most certainly do not add up. Your watchman, good sir, is a fallacy. Uh-oh. He's actually arguing with the one I didn't think he was gonna argue with.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he let nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end,
Well, according to my book here, hold up, what's his name? I suppose Zeeks hasn't said anything yet. You simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the set of scales.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement.
Why do you have to go and...
Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo!
Uh-oh. Run, Beppo, run! Yeah! That poor judge just looks so sad.
Ugh, this is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm gonna do the same. Oh. Only changed 2?
For the love of Mike, not you as well.
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Really, Sheen?
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witness again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhito, you did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly, you can do it. I mean, it's probably going to be the stabbing. One guy does the forward stab with the motion, and the other lady does the downward stab with her motion. I imagine those would be the two to argue. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavily on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. Oh, they actually changed their lines. Oh, jeez. Hold up, go back to him. There's no one else that cares at the time, so it has to be him. Unless it's someone else like this. I've changed my mind leaning innocent. I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself. He's sitting up next to him like this. Brazen, I must say, absolutely brazen. I have simply typed a clearly this statement's made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. God, Beppo, this trial has continued so I can get to the bottom of the corruption. Not guilty, I say.
Debtor stabbing the poor man on the floor. It beggars belief.
Yeah, that's the only two I can really see.
Objection!
Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel, post haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half.
What is all this, claptrap? What does that contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror member number 3.
What? Did you see I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Want to test me, do you?
It was like this. Struck the fellow next to him without even getting up. Just like the prim banker said.
Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Like it's true crime. I mean, it's good. I love the Ace Attorney series. Now don't move. Take a look at those two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Bless my stitches. What a muddle.
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh, it was me.
That'd be funny. But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Eyes, you say? Oh, dearie me.
Right away.
I can't abide people telling lies. I'm an old lady. I've only murdered like 206 people. I've been innocent every time.
The scales.
I don't believe it.
Yep, the old lady did it. Or even now.
Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors, I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him. In his black suit, he's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all.
You slacking lady at 206? She started when she was old. She never murdered anyone. Uh-oh. There's a contradictory statements there. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Answer me this, dark jinx.
Huh? Me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it did the two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events?
What of it?
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus.
Objection.
And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed them again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that,
What are you calling a dandy, sir? Why I should take this knife to you? Who are you calling old? Wait, I should take this needle to you.
Uh-oh, we're about to have another murder. Ugh, they're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? Well, let's go over what we know. So we did see him stabbed right there. Gives death internal hemorrhaging result of single stab wound to the abdomen. Those are the two murderers? Yeah. They're serial murderers. According to the autopsy report, stabbed the abdomen with a knife while journeying on the omnibus. Died due to the internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Which means it's also possible, I think it's possible, just because he could have been stabbed once. But then he could have been moved to the ground, in which, if they didn't remove the knife, it would have looked like he got stabbed on the ground. It's true. There's an outside chance of almost anything you care to mention. Exactly the point I've been trying to make. Stabbed only one time. Yeah. Before you go any further, Mr. Naruto, well, they'll let me know. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sato? I think you should have looked through the... Yeah, they're gonna let me know right away. See, this evidence makes it quite clear. There isn't even an outside chance of what the juror is saying. How did I miss that? Yeah, so they're gonna let me do it. I'm thinking too far. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it. But I would have liked it if he explained it that way and said it could have been, the body could have been moved with a single stab. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction.
At least you got more lines.
So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me proof.
Looks like the only way I'm gonna convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Alright, but if it was at the same time, then yeah, then it would not be different. Irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw the two different moments of the same crime, as proven by Autopsy!
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once.
Yeah, only once.
It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time, because you gotta ask, why did they see, or why do they hear two different sides, or see two different things? That's why I'm thinking I'm too far ahead. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times.
Oh. Alright. I concede. I concede defeat.
Man, they're quick to the not guilty. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruto. We've won!
What are you playing at, you dandy fool?
Probably because he called him Danny.
Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me.
But we had a consensus.
I said shut your trap.
He suddenly pulled the knife out. Next, it pretty hard.
I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop,
Oh, jeez.
I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head.
Oh, jeez, this is creepy now. I don't want to look at this guy anymore. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. Jurors now stand at 2 for guilty, 4 for not guilty. He's a barber. It's weird. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jurors for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. They didn't say a word. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witness to return to their places, and to call upon all you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution if you please. Uh-oh. Poor did he drank that first cup and he's gonna get drunk by the end of this court case. Why? Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. I'm not drunk, Your Honor. Alright, we're gonna go and save there. That is it for tonight. It has been the hour.